Okay, this is take two. We're doing this in the car, and I had to get my hotspot to get the pitch deck pulled up on my computer. So today's video, we're going over the pitch deck. I'm in the car because my wife is watching The Bachelor. It's Joey's season, and we love The Bachelor. We love Joey, and it's the first episode tonight. And the first episode's probably the best one whenever you watch The Bachelor. So she's doing that, and I'm recording from the car today. So it is what it is. But today we're going to go over, I'm going to record a few videos. The first one is going to be going over the pitch deck because in the last couple days, I found so it's a company here in Utah, and I think it's just a new venture fund full of people who have started some pretty big tech companies here in Utah. And the fund is relatively new, and I thought, might as well pitch. I've got my plan to do this with Bubbles Mobile Developer, but if we can get funding now, why not? So I revisited the pitch deck, and I've been messing with it for the last few days. The old video of the old pitch deck is still on YouTube, so I would do a side-by-side comparison, but I'm doing it in Google Sheets, and so I only have the one copy, and I've just made all the edits to that copy. But feel free to go back to the old video and do the comparison yourself. I'm also going to do this, talk through the slides from my computer, and then hopefully I can paste the slides in throughout the video. I'm not the best at editing, but I'm sure I can hack that together so that you can see each slide as I go through it. I guess why, let's first answer why I'm doing a new pitch deck. Also, a thing I saw on LinkedIn where a guy was talking about the theory behind pitch decks, and two things really hit me. One was there's fast brain and slow brain. That's from the LinkedIn post, I think. And slow brain is your frontal cortex, and it has to logic through things and think. And when VCs read pitch decks, they don't do that because they have to do 100 a week or something. So they use a very intuitive part of their brain that acts really fast, and it's just yes or no, is this giving me the right vibe? And so the guy on LinkedIn said if you could create your pitch deck to be more like that part of your brain instead of having to logic your way through the whole pitch deck, then it'll do better. And the second thing was my wife and I went to a pitch competition, and we saw 5 startups, not even startups, we saw 5 companies pitch for investors. And every time that I saw a slide that said the problem, I felt like it put me on the opposite side of a table from the person who was pitching, where they're trying to explain the problem. But I was the skeptic. As I was watching it, I just thought, that's not as big of a problem as you think it is. You're not describing the right problem in the area or whatever. And so I really wanted to change the way that we structure everything and kind of the psychology behind the slides. So as I go through each of these slides, hopefully you'll see that. So the first one, title slide, that hasn't changed much. The second slide, so this is the problem slide. And it used to be, I think in the old deck, we had used my cousin as an example, where we just had 3 pictures showing the progression of her life. And I think it was just too much to read. And then you had, this is what I'm talking about. The old one, you would read the story, and it was a decent story that described the problem, but that's all it was. It was a story that described a problem. This new slide 2 just states the problem, and it doesn't say the problem and then goes into this whole thing. It's just it can be hard to make friends as a couple. That's the title of that slide, just stating the problem. Nowhere does it say here's the problem we're trying to solve, here's blah blah. It's just here it is. And then we give 3 examples, and my wife and I really thought about these. It was 2 or 3 days that we spent narrowing down dozens and dozens of statements because we wanted these to be irrefutable. We didn't want anybody who was reading this pitch deck to go, I'm not so sure about that. I don't think that's a problem. I don't see that as a problem in my life, or whatever. So we wanted them to be 3 irrefutable statements, and this is what we settled on. So 1 is kind of the obvious. If you get in a relationship, then your single friends don't want to hang out with you as much. We're not saying they stop hanging out with you. We just say not as much. And why? It's because third wheeling isn't fun. I feel like that's irrefutable. That's just life. If you've gone from single to in a relationship, you've felt that, or you've had that happen to your friends, or you've been the single one who has a friend who gets in a relationship and they're not as much fun to hang out with anymore. So that's like statement number one, irrefutable. Statement number two, because seasons of life change, it can be hard to find couples you want to hang out with. This is speaking to the idea that, like, when you're first in a relationship, you want people like that. And then we've put in the parentheses like pregnancy, with kids, empty nesters. Like, your life is just changing. Once you get in a relationship, then your life, you're kind of just in a different phase all the time. And you want people who are in a similar phase as you. And so it can be hard. Like, you go from, at least my wife and I right now, we are newly married and we have no kids. And a lot of the people around us are having kids. And people who are pregnant or have like young babies, they like to hang out together because their kids can play and whatever. And then the third statement is just a list of other things that make it hard to make friends as a couple. So if you and your partner move, it can be hard to make new friends. If you work remotely and you don't have like an office and people to meet and mingle with in an office, that can make it hard. If you're just the kind of person who has a hard time introducing yourself, maybe you're shy, maybe you're introverted, you want to make friends, but for whatever reason, that's just like something that you're uncomfortable with. That can make it harder. Or if you have like super niche interests. I know golfing isn't super niche, but we also, the idea with this slide was to make it a bit more visual, just so that like a picture is fast to consume, very, very fast. And so when someone reads this, hopefully they spend some time glancing over the pictures and they go, oh, I kind of get what the slide's about. And they maybe glance over the three statements and they go, okay, I get it. All trying to make this pitch deck work with the fast part of the brain, not the slow part of the brain. So that's slide number one, different than the problem slide. Or that's slide number two, sorry. Okay, so slide number three, this is like a transition slide. So this wasn't in the old pitch deck, but we thought it would be a good idea. I think one idea that we thought was a really good idea was associating our logo with other logos that are big names on social media, like Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or Tinder, whatever. Those are big logos, and we're trying to get the idea across to the venture capitalists, like associate our idea with these other really big apps. This isn't going to be some like weird local like classifieds thing or like find a group. This is going to be a massive app. So that was one thing, is just the association of big name brands and big logos with our logo. And so we thought this was like a really good slide to have where you can, do the association and kind of transition into the solution at the same time. The solution side, this one actually hasn't changed too much, so I won't spend too much time on it. Like, we changed the words a little bit, but overall it's just pictures of the app and then, 3 points about how the app works. My wife thinks we need to have more on this about how the app works, and I actually agree, because the pictures, show you something, but I don't know, you don't get like the full idea of the app. So, well, we might put some more pictures in. I don't know what the best way to do that is, but solution slide hasn't changed much. Okay, so then this fifth slide, also a new slide. This is like the call to action almost. So after someone reads the whole deck, we want to tell them what to do. And they've got two options. You can invest later in phase 3 or invest now, and we skip phases. Well, we already did phase 1. So, and these phases are totally different than the phases from the YouTube videos that I've posted. So ignore that. But basically, we're either going to do this ourselves and get some traction and then go get investors, or the investors can just do this now and we can do it faster and we can do it better. So this is kind of the call to action for them. I don't really know how this slide will perform, but it is what it is. And then the appendix and the other slide are the same. It's just a bit about us as founders. So yeah, that's the new pitch deck. The other cool thing is I actually know a guy who has sold a company, and he was willing to give me some advice on the pitch deck, because so far it's been me and my wife and my dad just putting our investor brains on and saying, if we were investors, what would we want to see? And like me watching YouTube videos about how to make pitch decks. But we don't really know if this is going to work. So I contacted this guy that I know. He said, yeah, I'd love to look at it. And he's going to give me some advice and probably rip apart this pitch deck. It'll be this Friday. So I've got a couple days, and then this will probably change. But I thought it'd be good to have first pitch deck that really sucked, I think. This one, we're moving in the right direction, and then after I get some feedback, I'll probably record a video about the feedback and then the final pitch deck, just to show the whole evolution of the whole thing. But yeah, I think this is going to be really exciting. And honestly, the last thing that I'll say for this video is Once I finished this pitch deck, I was so much more excited about this one than my previous one. I'm actually excited to send this out to investors. So, just put that in the back of your head if you're starting a business and if you want to get investors, if you can make a pitch deck that you're really excited about and that you love, then you will be more eager to share that pitch deck than a pitch deck that you don't love. I know it's obvious. I know it's like probably a stupid thing to say, but that was something that I didn't really think about. I just felt like I finished the pitch deck and I thought, man, I can't wait to share this with people because I feel like it's such a good pitch deck or it's such a good idea or whatever. So I'll keep updating the pitch deck and I'll keep updating these YouTube videos as I go. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one.